Listen to the announcer. I want you guys to listen.
So the call here initially, no good, but I think they're going to review it.
Now, this is Caitlin Clark talking to the referees. Guess who immediately comes behind Caitlin?
Right there. That's the moment everyone's talking about. Briann January, assistant coach for the Indiana Fever, literally shadowing Caitlin Clark during a conversation with the refs. And if you've been following this team all season, that image should look disturbingly familiar.
Involving Caitlin Clark. This is exactly who this is. Come out of the clear blue sky. Poof, she appears. Briann January is right there. Now watch the rest of the clip. Now, this is the play right here. Let me minimize this so we don't get striked by YouTube. So let's play this.
This isn't new. It's a pattern. And what started as isolated incidents that fans noticed here and there has turned into something the entire WNBA community is now questioning out loud. Because when one coach keeps appearing in every controversial moment involving the league's biggest star, you stop calling it coincidence and start asking what's actually going on. The backlash online has been immediate and brutal. One fan account with significant reach posted, "Why is Briann January shadowing Caitlin Clark? She's not even playing, just having a conversation with the refs about Lexi Hull's bucket. Jesus Christ." Another wrote, "January better watch it. CC will be sitting again on some trumped-up charges." The replies weren't any kinder. Hundreds of comments, thousands of likes, all pointing at the same person.
He said, "I legit despise her. It's like an abusive relationship controlling. It's so weird. I refuse to watch them this season without CC, scummy coaching staff, and organization." Somebody else stated, "They're so lame. They all want to play hard when Caitlin isn't playing, but then absolutely play like ish the bed when she plays because they know she'll get all the blame anyway." Somebody else said, "I don't like Briann January." I don't either.
So who exactly is Briann January, and why does her name keep coming up whenever there's drama around Caitlin Clark? That's what we need to unpack, because this story goes deeper than one awkward moment at halftime. There's history here. There's context that makes this whole situation make a lot more sense, and honestly, a lot more uncomfortable. January played for the Indiana Fever for years. She was one of the franchise's core players during her time there. Second all-time in assists for the team. Third all-time in minutes played. Fourth all-time in points scored. Those aren't bad numbers. For a long time, Briann January was the face people associated with Indiana Fever basketball.
It was back in May, right? Two-time runner-up Caitlin Clark and WNBA assistant coach Briann January shares a quick moment on the bench. We all remember this, right? Oh, yes, we all remember this, right? Look. It's always something. Briann January, I believe she played for the Indiana Fever, if I'm not mistaken. And to me, I believe she's jealous of Caitlin Clark.
Then Caitlin Clark gets drafted. Instantly becomes the biggest name in women's basketball. Sells out arenas, breaks viewership records. And within her first season, she's already threatening or outright breaking multiple franchise records that January held. The same records that defined January's legacy with that organization. Now, publicly, everyone says the right things. January was brought back as an assistant coach, supposedly to help mentor the young talent. But if you're January, and you spent years building your name with this franchise, and then a rookie comes in and erases your entire statistical legacy in one season, how do you really feel about that? We can't read minds, but we can watch behavior, and the behavior is what has people talking.
Briann, shut it up. Austin, shut it up.
Look.
Here go Twitch anyway. Anyway. Oh my God, this coach is unstable, man. Look at Briann January. Briann, shut it up. Austin, shut.
It's always Briann January in the mix, bruh. I ain't lying.
That clip right there went semi-viral back in May. Caitlin Clark and Briann January sharing what was described as a quick moment after a game. Look at the body language. Look at Clark's face. Does that look like a warm mentor-mentee relationship to you? Or does it look like someone being told something they really don't want to hear?
Now, I do want to let y'all know Briann January is the same coach that stepped on Caitlin Clark's ankle and messed up her ankle, the reason why she could not finish the season last year. And then we got...
And here's where it gets worse. January is the defensive coordinator for the Fever. She's the one responsible for the team's defensive schemes, rotations, and preparation. So when the Fever's defense has been historically bad this season, that falls directly on her.
Sophie Cunningham saying this on our podcast.
Okay.
We are not going to win very many games when people score 100 points on us. And they average, I think, around 80 points, and we let them score like 111. Our defense is horrible, and I think everyone knows that.
Okay.
Guess who runs the defense, everybody?
That's Lexi Hull, another player on the roster, saying it out loud on a podcast. We are not going to win very many games when people score 100 points on us. The average, I think, is around 80 points, and we let them score like 111. Our defense is horrible, and I think everyone knows that. Everyone knows that, including the coaching staff, including Briann January, whose job it is to fix it. And yet, the defense hasn't improved. If anything, it's gotten worse as the season has gone on. Teams are scoring at will against Indiana. The Fever are giving up open looks, blown rotations, defensive breakdowns that even casual fans can spot from the stands. So the question becomes, is this incompetence, or is it something else? Because when you're the defensive coordinator, and your defense is ranked near the bottom of the league, and your job security somehow isn't in question, that tells you something about the organization's priorities, or about who's actually calling the shots.
Do you guys see a similar photo here? Because I definitely see a similar picture. This is the sabotage like no other, bro. This is the sabotage like no other. I can promise you. Briann January is the cancer in the locker room and the cancer within the coaching staff. She is.
There's another piece to this that fans haven't forgotten. Last season, during a game, Briann January was on the sideline and accidentally stepped on Caitlin Clark's ankle. Clark had to leave the game. She missed time because of it. It was called an accident. Maybe it was. But when you add it to the growing list of incidents involving these two, people start connecting dots. One incident is an accident, 2 incidents is unfortunate. But when it's 5, 6, 7 separate moments where the same coach is involved in something negative surrounding the same player, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. And it's not just fans noticing anymore. Media members who cover the WNBA are starting to ask questions. Analysts are pointing out the dysfunction. Even other players around the league are subtly indicating that something's off in Indiana. The whispers are getting louder.
Indiana Fever player. Oh, this is why she hate Caitlin Clark. So she was second all-time in assists, second all-time in steals, third all-time in minutes played, fourth all-time in points. Oh! Briann January is one of the franchise most dynamic players, and she's returning to Indiana as an assistant coach.
This is the organizational chart we're dealing with. Stephanie White is the head coach. She's the one with final say. But Briann January has been with White the entire time. They came in together. They're reportedly close. So if White was going to make a change to her coaching staff, January would probably be the last person she'd let go, regardless of performance. Which means Caitlin Clark is stuck. She's the franchise player, the one bringing in all the money and attention, but she's being coached by someone who, at best, is underqualified for the role, and at worst, might actively resent her presence.
It makes sense now. Caitlin's breaking all her damn records. Oh, she's going to be one behind Caitlin. Whoa. Is this why she hate Caitlin? I think I cracked the Da Vinci Code. Damn. She was second, third. Caitlin's finna straight. She's probably already broken all her damn records.
Look at those stats again. January was second all-time in assists, third in minutes, fourth in points. For years, she was the standard for Indiana Fever excellence. Her jersey probably should have been retired. She was supposed to be remembered as a franchise legend. And then Caitlin Clark shows up and, in one season, starts dismantling that entire legacy. Clark's already passed her in several categories. By the end of next season, if Clark stays healthy, she'll own virtually every meaningful franchise record. January's name will get pushed further and further down the list until it's a footnote. That's not speculation, that's just math. And if you're January, you have to live with that. You have to watch it happen in real time. You have to stand on the sideline and watch the player who's erasing your legacy get celebrated for it, night after night. Could you do that with grace? Could you genuinely mentor someone who's making you irrelevant? Some people could, some people couldn't. And based on what we've seen, it's fair to ask which category January falls into.
Briann January don't like Caitlin because she broke all her records. I'm convinced. Get down in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts about this. Be sure to turn up the video. Click the hype button. Y'all know we don't get as many hypes as everybody else.
The internet has absolutely turned on her. That phrase, the internet giveth and the internet taketh away, has never been more true. There are entire threads now dedicated to documenting every interaction between January and Clark. Fans are going back through old game footage looking for moments they might have missed. It's become a full-blown investigation by the fanbase, and what they're finding isn't helping January's case. Clips of her pulling Clark aside during games for what looks like criticism. Moments where Clark is visibly frustrated after talking to her. Defensive schemes that leave Clark exposed or put her in positions to fail. It's all being catalogued, analyzed, and shared.
White Gold stated this on Twitter during the game. He stated, bro, why is Briann January shadowing Caitlin Clark? She's not even playing. Just because she's having a convo with the refs about Lexi Bucket, Jesus Christ. Somebody else said, P.O. January, watch on Caitlin. You will be sitting again on some Trump-up charges.
Go back and watch that sequence again. It's the end of the first half. Caitlin Clark is talking to the referees about a call. It's a normal interaction. Players talk to refs all the time. But immediately, Briann January comes up behind her. Not next to her, behind her. Shadowing her. Monitoring the conversation. Why? What's the coaching purpose of that? If Clark is just asking about a call, why does January need to be hovering over her shoulder? It reads like surveillance. It reads like control. And when you're the player in that situation, it has to feel suffocating.
There is a collage that we are going to put together involving none other than Briann January. So, these are some of the posts from Briann January. Now, this is from May. This was back in May, right? Two-time runner-up Caitlin Clark and WNBA assistant coach Briann January shares a quick moment on the bench. We all remember this, right? Oh, yes, we all remember this, right? Look.
One comment that's been circulating really captures how fans feel. I legit despise her. It's like an abusive relationship. Controlling. It's so weird. I refuse to watch them this season without CC. Scummy coaching staff and organization. That's harsh language, but it's not coming from one person. It's the dominant sentiment across multiple platforms. Thousands of people are saying some version of the same thing. They see the dynamic between January and Clark as toxic. They see it as holding Clark back, and they're refusing to support the team because of it. That should terrify the Indiana Fever front office. Caitlin Clark is the reason their attendance is up. She's the reason their games are on national television. She's the reason corporate sponsors are suddenly interested in the franchise. If fans start boycotting because they believe the coaching staff is sabotaging her, that's not just a PR problem. That's a financial crisis.
Y'all know what y'all favorite homeboy like to say. What do John Liquidator always tell you? The internet will give it, and the internet will take it away, bruh. This is exactly what has happened with the Indiana Fever, dog. Briann January's back in the front of the damn congregation, bruh. Now,
So where does this go from here? That's the question that matters, because right now, we're at an inflection point. The Fever can either acknowledge that there's a problem and make changes, or they can circle the wagons, defend their coaching staff, and hope this blows over. But it's not going to blow over. Not when the evidence keeps piling up. Not when fans are this activated. Not when Caitlin Clark is this important to the future of the league. The WNBA is experiencing unprecedented growth right now, and a huge part of that is because of Clark. She's bringing in new fans, new media attention, new money. The league needs her to succeed. They need her to be happy, healthy, and thriving. If she's not, if she's being mismanaged by a coaching staff that can't get out of its own way, that's a league-wide problem. And here's what should really worry Indiana. Caitlin Clark isn't locked into this situation forever. She's got years left on her rookie contract, sure, but after that, she's a free agent. And if the Fever don't fix this, if they keep letting January undermine her, Clark could walk. She could go to a team that actually knows how to build around a generational talent, and Indiana would be right back where they were before she arrived, playing in front of empty arenas with no national relevance.
A buffoonery. I can assure you that. And we have even more buffoonery. Now, I know what some of y'all are thinking. Y'all are thinking, John, why is we pulling the game back up from yesterday? I'm finna show you in a brief second why we're replaying this last couple seconds.
The phrase that keeps coming up is sabotage. Fans aren't just saying the coaching is bad, they're saying it's intentional. They're saying January is actively working against Clark's success. Now that's a serious accusation. We can't prove intent. We can't read January's mind. But we can look at results. The defense is terrible. Clark is being put in difficult positions. The team chemistry looks fractured, and the one constant in all of it is Briann January. At some point you have to ask, if the goal is to maximize Caitlin Clark's potential and build a winning team around her, why is the person responsible for the defense still employed when the defense is this historically bad? The answer might be as simple as organizational dysfunction. The Fever might just be a poorly run franchise that doesn't know how to evaluate coaching performance. Or it might be that Stephanie White is too loyal to January to make the necessary change, even if it's hurting the team. Either way, it's Caitlin Clark who pays the price. She's the one dealing with the defensive breakdowns. She's the one being shadowed and monitored. She's the one whose legacy is being impacted by decisions she has no control over.
Damn! She was second, third. Caitlin's finna straight. She's probably already broken all her damn records. Oh my God, guys. Briann January don't like Caitlin because she broke all her records. I'm convinced. Get down in the comment section. Let me know y'all thoughts about this. Be sure to turn up the video. Click the hype button. Y'all know we don't get as many hypes as everybody else.
That realization, the one about the records, might be the key to understanding all of this. Because if you accept that Briann January's legacy is being erased by Caitlin Clark, then suddenly a lot of the behavior makes sense. Not acceptable sense, not justified sense, but human sense. Jealousy is a real thing. Resentment is a real thing. And when you've spent your whole career building something, and then you watch someone else come in and make it irrelevant in a fraction of the time, that's hard to process. Most people would struggle with it. The difference is, most people aren't in a position where they have direct influence over the person who's replacing them. January is. She's on the coaching staff. She has Clark's ear, whether Clark wants her to or not. She has input on rotations, game plans, defensive assignments. She has power in that relationship. And if she's using that power in ways that don't serve Clark's best interests, that's a massive problem that the organization needs to address. The worst part is, we might never get a clean answer. Organizations don't usually admit to internal dysfunction like this. They don't put out press releases saying, yeah, our assistant coach resents our star player. They handle it quietly, if they handle it at all. So unless there's a dramatic change, like January being let go or reassigned, this is just going to continue to fester. And every time there's another incident, another clip of January hovering over Clark, or another defensive breakdown, or another loss, the fan base is going to get louder. The media is going to ask harder questions, and eventually, the pressure might force the Fever's hand. But that could take time, and in the meantime, Caitlin Clark is stuck in a situation that's clearly not working. She's too professional to publicly complain. She's not going to throw her coaches under the bus in a press conference, but you can see it in her body language. You can see it in the moments when she looks frustrated or exhausted or just done with the whole situation. That's not how a generational talent should be feeling in her second year. That's not how you build a championship culture. And if the Fever don't figure that out soon, they're going to waste the most important player they've ever had. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Is Briann January the problem, or is she just the most visible symptom of a bigger organizational failure? Because maybe the real issue isn't one coach. Maybe it's a front office that hired the wrong staff, a head coach who's too loyal to make tough decisions, and a culture that prioritizes everything except winning. But if that's true, then fixing it requires a lot more than just moving January to a different role. It requires a complete reset. And the clock is ticking. What do you think? Is this jealousy, incompetence, or something else entirely? Drop your take in the comments. And if you've been following this story, hit the like button and subscribe, because this situation is far from over.